Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract success like a magnet while others struggle year after year just trying to make ends meet? It's not luck. It's not chance. It's not even about being born in the right family. The truth is, success is not something you stumble into. It is something you are prepared for, something you cultivate, and something you attract by the person you become. And the person you become is shaped by one thing: your habits. Discipline is the master key that unlocks every door to success. It is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. The silent force that pushes you forward when motivation fades and emotions try to hold you back. Think about it. Every person who has ever achieved greatness did not get there by chance. They got there because they developed the ability to do what needed to be done, whether they felt like it or not. The difference between an amateur and a professional, between the successful and the struggling, is not talent, not luck, not even opportunity. It is discipline. Without discipline, the best ideas remain ideas, the best plans stay on paper, and the best dreams stay in your head. With discipline, you create momentum, and momentum creates breakthroughs. Here's the truth. Most people don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because they won't do it consistently. Discipline takes you past the point of excitement and carries you into the land of results. When you first start something new, excitement is high. You're motivated, you're inspired, you feel unstoppable. But what happens when the newness wears off? What happens when you wake up tired, when distractions are calling, when quitting seems easier than pressing forward? That's the exact moment where discipline steps in and says, do it anyway. And that's where champions are made. Motivation starts the race, but discipline finishes it. Let me paint a picture. Imagine a farmer planting seeds. If he plants for one day and then quits because it's tiring, he'll never see a harvest. But if he wakes up day after day, waters the ground, pulls the weeds, and cares for the soil, eventually he reaps an abundant harvest. Life works the same way. Discipline is the watering and weeding process of your dreams. You can't expect a harvest if you're not willing to commit to the process. Discipline is not glamorous, it's not always exciting, but it is always rewarding. The reason discipline feels so hard is because it requires you to go against your feelings. Your feelings will lie to you. They'll tell you to sleep a little longer, to take a shortcut, to put it off until tomorrow. But discipline doesn't listen to feelings. It listens to principles. When you develop the habit of discipline, you reprogram yourself for success. You start to build trust with yourself, and that's one of the most powerful assets you can ever have. When you trust yourself to follow through, your confidence grows, your influence grows, and your results grow. Here's the hook: discipline is freedom. Most people think discipline is restrictive, but in reality, it's the only path to true freedom. Financial freedom, physical freedom, emotional freedom, spiritual freedom, all of it comes from the ability to consistently do the right things. The athlete who disciplines his body experiences the freedom of peak performance. The entrepreneur who disciplines her schedule experiences the freedom of wealth. The person who disciplines their mind experiences the freedom of peace. Without discipline, you live at the mercy of your feelings and circumstances. With discipline, you live at the level of your decisions and commitments. If you want to change your life, don't wait for a miracle, don't wait for motivation, and don't wait for the perfect moment. Decide to discipline yourself today. Wake up earlier. Stay focused longer. Finish what you start. Refuse to quit when it gets hard. Every act of discipline is a deposit into your future success. And just like compounding interest in a bank account, Those deposits multiply over time until you look back one day and realize you didn't just wish for success, you built it one disciplined choice at a time. Growth is not automatic, it is intentional. And the people who create extraordinary lives are the ones who commit to learning and growing every single day. Success is not about what you know right now. It is about how willing you are to keep expanding what you know and applying it to your life. Think about it. If you look at two people who start at the same place, one chooses to stay comfortable while the other chooses to grow. Within a few years, the gap between them will be unrecognizable. That gap is not luck, it is not talent, it is growth. The truth is, your income, your influence, and your impact will never rise higher than your mindset. If your mind grows, your life grows. If your mind stays small, your life stays small. One of the biggest differences between wealthy, successful people and those who struggle is how they treat knowledge. Wealthy people invest in learning. They buy books, they attend seminars, they pay for mentorship. Poor people often think education ends with school, but successful people know education is a lifelong journey. You cannot expect to compete at a high level if you are still operating with yesterday's information. The world changes fast, and the ones who win are the ones who adapt, innovate, and keep learning. Every new idea, every new principle, every new skill you pick up is like adding another tool to your toolbox. The more tools you have, the more problems you can solve, and the bigger the opportunities that open up to you. The beautiful thing about learning is that it compounds just like money. One book might not change your life overnight. One lesson might not make you rich instantly. But as you stack lessons upon lessons, your perspective shifts, your confidence grows, and your decision-making sharpens. Before long, you begin to see opportunities that others miss because you've trained your mind to look beyond the obvious. That's the power of daily growth. It changes not only what you can do, but also what you can see. Here's the hook: learning is the one investment that always pays the highest return. You can lose money, you can lose jobs, you can lose possessions, but what you put inside your mind, no one can ever take away. That knowledge becomes a permanent part of who you are. It's like building an internal fortune that produces external results. When you increase your knowledge, you increase your value, and when you increase your value, the marketplace rewards you. But let's be clear, growth doesn't just come from gaining information. It comes from applying information. You don't get better by hearing something once and nodding your head. You get better by taking what you learn and using it in your daily life. Knowledge without action creates frustration, but knowledge applied creates transformation. Every time you apply what you've learned, you create a new habit, a new result, and a new level of success. If you want your future to be bigger than your past, you have to grow bigger than your current self. Every day is an opportunity to feed your mind, stretch your thinking, and expand your capacity. The people who stop growing get stuck, but the people who keep growing keep rising. The choice is simple: stay where you are or grow into who you were meant to be. The moment you commit to daily growth, you stop waiting for success and start attracting it, because success will always meet you at the level of the person you are becoming. One of the most powerful habits that separates people who succeed from those who remain stuck is the speed at which they take action. Opportunities don't wait for hesitation, they reward execution. Too many people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect set of circumstances. But here's the truth: there is no such thing as the perfect time. The people you admire, the ones who seem to always be winning, are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who move. They see an opening, and instead of overthinking it, they step in. They take the risk. They make the call. They launch the idea, and because they act, they learn, they grow, and they get ahead while others are still thinking about it. Think about this. Success loves speed. The faster you act, the faster you learn, and the faster you learn, the faster you adjust and get better. Action creates clarity. You don't figure everything out by sitting around analyzing. You figure it out by moving forward and learning in real time. If you wait until everything is lined up, you'll miss the very window that could change your life. Opportunities have an expiration date, and hesitation is what makes most people miss theirs. Here's the hook: imperfect action will always beat perfect inaction. You don't need to know the whole staircase to take the first step. People often say, "I'll start when I'm ready." But readiness doesn't come before action. Readiness comes because of action. You become prepared in the process, not before the process. If you look back on anyone who has achieved greatness, you'll notice their first step wasn't polished. Their first product wasn't perfect. Their first attempt wasn't flawless. But because they acted, they created momentum. Momentum is a force that multiplies results. Once you start moving, doors open that you couldn't see standing still. Every time you delay, you give fear more power. Fear feeds on hesitation. The longer you wait, the louder the doubts become. But the moment you act, fear loses its grip. Fear doesn't disappear before you move. It disappears because you move. And when you build the habit of acting quickly, you train yourself to operate with courage and confidence instead of hesitation and excuses. That alone will put you ahead of 90% of people who keep waiting. Taking action quickly doesn't mean being reckless. It means making decisions with urgency and trusting yourself enough to adjust as you go. You can pivot, you can refine, you can improve, but you can't do any of that if you never start. The universe doesn't reward intentions. It rewards execution. Your faith, your vision, your ambition all remain powerless until they're activated by action. The difference between people who dream and people who succeed is simple. The successful ones act faster on their ideas. While one person is stuck in analysis, the other is already creating results. While one is wondering, what if, the other is finding out by doing. And as time goes by, the gap grows wider, not because one had more potential, but because one had more urgency. So the question you must ask yourself is this: how long will you keep waiting? And when will you start moving? Because the moment you decide to act, and act quickly, you begin to collapse the time between where you are and where you want to be. Gratitude is one of the most underrated habits of highly successful people, yet it is also one of the most powerful. Too many people think success is only about grinding harder, making bigger moves, or chasing the next opportunity. But the truth is, success is just as much about your internal state as it is about your external actions. Gratitude is not just a nice feeling. It is a force that shapes your perspective, your decisions, and ultimately your results. When you learn how to cultivate gratitude as a daily habit, you position yourself to attract abundance rather than repel it. Here's the reality: people who complain rarely succeed. Why? Because complaining shifts your focus to what you lack instead of what you have. And whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on lack, you attract more lack. If you focus on problems, you create more problems. But when you focus on gratitude, you unlock a mindset that sees opportunities where others see obstacles. Gratitude doesn't blind you to reality. It gives you a different lens through which to see reality. It allows you to see solutions, possibilities, and blessings that were already there but hidden by negativity. The hook is this: gratitude turns what you have into enough. and then it multiplies it. Think about that. When you are grateful for the little you have, you position yourself for more. When you despise the little you have, you disqualify yourself from the increase you say you want. The wealthy understand this principle. They don't wait until they make millions to be grateful. They are grateful for every dollar, every connection, every lesson along the way. That mindset attracts more because gratitude is magnetic. It draws resources, people, and opportunities into your life. Gratitude also impacts how you show up in relationships. Nobody wants to be around someone who is always complaining, always bitter, always finding fault. But people are drawn to those who express appreciation, who recognize value, who celebrate progress. Gratitude makes you magnetic not only to opportunities, but also to people. And the truth is, success is a team sport. You need others, and others need you. Gratitude strengthens those connections and creates an atmosphere where collaboration and growth can flourish. Now, let's take it deeper. Gratitude is not passive, it's active. It's not just saying thank you with your mouth. It's showing thankfulness with your life. Gratitude is waking up in the morning and being thankful for the chance to try again. It's looking at setbacks and being thankful for the lessons they brought. It's facing challenges and being thankful that you have the strength to endure them. This doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is perfect. It means refusing to let negativity rob you of perspective. Gratitude shifts you from being a victim of your circumstances to being a master of them. Gratitude also produces joy, and joy produces energy. People underestimate how much energy it takes to complain, to dwell on negativity, to carry bitterness. It drains you. But gratitude fuels you. It keeps you hopeful, motivated, and persistent. When others quit because they're discouraged, gratitude keeps you pressing forward because you're focused on possibility, not limitation. That alone gives you an advantage. So here's the challenge. Start practicing gratitude daily, not occasionally. Write down what you're thankful for. Speak it out loud. Let it become the atmosphere of your life. Because when gratitude becomes your habit, success becomes your lifestyle. Service is the true pathway to success, and the sooner you embrace this truth, the sooner your results will transform. Too many people approach success with a mindset of, can I get, when the real question is, what can I give? The world does not pay you based on how badly you want something. It pays you based on the size of the problems you solve and the value you bring to others. The most successful people on the planet are those who have made service their core habit. They have trained themselves to look for ways to add value, to meet needs, to solve challenges, and as a result, their rewards multiply. Here's the hook. The marketplace is not emotional, it is mathematical. If you want to earn more, you must serve more. If you want to create wealth, stop chasing money and start chasing problems you can solve. Every dollar you've ever earned came from someone who believed the value you gave was greater than the money they exchanged for it. That principle never changes. If you want more money, create more value. If you want bigger opportunities, solve bigger problems. Money flows toward impact, and impact flows toward service. Think about the greatest entrepreneurs, innovators, and leaders in history. What do they all have in common? They found a way to serve at scale. They didn't just think about what they wanted, they thought about what people needed. They created solutions, built systems, and provided answers to problems others couldn't fix. That is why they became wealthy. Service always attracts success because success is simply the reward for solving problems that matter. Service also shifts your mindset. When you focus only on yourself, your vision stays small. But when you focus on others, your vision expands. You start to think bigger, dream bigger, and create bigger, because you're not just thinking about what benefits you. You're thinking about how to improve the lives of others. That shift in focus makes you magnetic. People are drawn to those who genuinely care about serving, and opportunities chase people who bring value. But service is not just about business. It's about character. When you make serving others your habit, you build trust, influence, and credibility. People may forget what you say, but they never forget how you serve them. That kind of reputation opens doors that money can't buy. It makes people want to partner with you, refer you, and support you. In a world full of people who are only looking out for themselves, the one who serves stands out. The beauty of service is that it creates a cycle of increase. The more you serve, the more value you add. The more value you add, the more rewards you attract. The more rewards you attract, the more resources you have to serve at an even greater level. It becomes an upward spiral of growth, impact, and prosperity. So here's the challenge. Stop asking, how can I get more? And start asking, how can I give more? Because when you make your life about service, success will make its way to you. The size of your success will always mirror the size of your service. If you want to grow your income, grow your impact. If you want to change your life, change the lives of others. Service is not just an act. It is the very habit that makes success inevitable. Your future is not written in the stars. It is written in your habits. Every choice you make, every action you repeat is building the framework of the life you are walking into. Goals are important. Dreams are powerful. But the truth is you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. The real question is not what you want, but what you're willing to do consistently. Because the small, unseen disciplines you practice daily are quietly writing the story of your destiny. Here's the hook. Success is never an event. It is a lifestyle. People often think of success as a big break, a single opportunity, or one massive win that changes everything. But in reality, success is the compounded effect of small, consistent actions. It's the daily choices you make when no one is watching. It's waking up a little earlier, studying a little longer, finishing what you start, keeping promises to yourself, and refusing to quit when it gets hard. Those habits don't look glamorous in the moment, but over time, they separate the extraordinary from the average. Think about it. Habits work in both directions. They can either build you up or break you down. Bad habits are like termites. They slowly eat away at the structure of your life until one day everything collapses. Good habits are like bricks. Every day you lay another one, and eventually you've built a fortress of strength, discipline, and success. The scary part is that habits rarely feel urgent. Missing one workout, skipping one call, putting off one task doesn't seem like much. But repeated over time, those little choices add up. The same is true for positive habits. They don't always feel like they're making a difference, but compounded over time, they create unstoppable momentum. Here's another hook. Habits create identity. The more you repeat an action, the more it becomes who you are. When you discipline yourself to read daily, you don't just learn, you become a learner. When you practice gratitude daily, you don't just feel thankful, you become a grateful person. When you show up consistently, you don't just do the work, you become someone others can depend on. And the moment your habits align with the person you want to become, your success is inevitable. Habits also remove the need for constant willpower. Willpower is like a battery, it runs out. But habits turn hard choices into automatic responses. You don't have to fight with yourself every day to make the right decision. Your habits make the decision for you. That's why the most disciplined people don't look like they're struggling all the time. They've simply trained themselves until the right actions became their default. And that's what makes them unstoppable. So here's the challenge. Don't just dream about where you want to be in 10 years. Build the habits today that will get you there. Because your habits are like seeds, and one day you will eat the fruit of what you've planted. The question is, will you be glad you planted discipline, focus, and consistency, or will you regret planting procrastination, distraction, and excuses? The choice is yours, and the choice is made every single day in the form of your habits.